Today on the show, I have Jake Campbell, the owner of Valley Waste Removal. Jake actually moved from a new city with nothing and started a business. This is a great story. You got to tune in. But this show is for two people. And want to be very clear. It's for people that are just starting out. If you want to know what it takes to start a business, if you're feeling like you have a limit on your potential and you want to know what it takes to grind and how to care for customers and your people, this is for you. But it's also for another crowd. The second group that this is for the people that have been in business for many years. And you might need a quick pump up or pep talk to get back to some of the things that got you where you are. Treating people like family, caring for your customers again like you did when you started. You don't want to miss this one. It's for both of you. This is Help, I'm a Contractor podcast. Hi, I'm Seth Lewis. I am a blue-collar business coach. Finally, someone that understands what contractors actually go through. My goal and vision is to connect business owners with knowledge while tackling some of the industry's toughest challenges. Please subscribe to my content and let's support each other to create awareness for our industry. Check out what I have going on at www.bluecollarbusinesscoach.net. Check out my book that has helped business owners across the country change their business and their life. But for now, it's time for the show. Let's get it. Hey, Jake, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Awesome to be on.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a lot of great things today, but I got to ask you, being in the junk removal business, what is the craziest story, the craziest thing that you came in contact with so far?
It's actually funny you ask. I'm glad we did this interview today because yesterday I was cleaning out an evicted apartment and I went inside and I had trash in my left hand, trash in my right hand, and I went to throw the trash over the trailer with my left hand, so I set the stuff down in my right, and I heard something clanking in this little container, and it's like one of those containers kids catch butterflies in, so super small, and there's probably like 3 inches of black, dirty water in there, and I heard something clank, and I opened it up, and there was a turtle in there, and so I love turtles. I had turtles growing up. I never had water turtles. I just had like basic box turtles that like don't really require maintenance. You just hang out. So I got him new water. He rode around with me in the front seat. I seat belted him, and he rode around with me the whole day. And then homeboy cost me about $350 last night at Petco. He's got a brand new 50-gallon tank and everything. So that's the craziest find, and I love him. I already love him.
So what's the saying? Somebody's junk is somebody else's treasure, right? So
yeah,
that's your treasure.
One man's trash, another man's treasure. I really felt bad because I can't clean an apartment out until after 15 days minimum. People get 15 days once they get evicted. So that turtle had been sitting in dirty water for at least 15 days, no food, no nothing, but he's got a good home now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And one of the things we want to talk about is how to launch a business or starting a business. You have a pretty interesting story of starting a business, being in, family businesses and some other things prior, and then making a big jump on your own and launching it. So I'd like to hear a little bit more of what was your background like, family business, things that you were involved in, and take us through the journey of actually launching a business, because there's a lot of people out there that want to start a business. They might not know how to, they might, and this could help give them some steps to do it. So let's go back. Let's talk about how you got into the business world, what your family business stuff was, and then take us to where you started your business.
Yeah, so I started working for my family at 18. I swore I wasn't going to work for them. And then a few months out of high school, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to work there. So I started from the ground up. I started sweeping floors. I started picking orders in the warehouse. I did that for 2 years. Then they moved me up into like counter sales. And that's where I was the past 5 years. I worked at one of our stores, and then they transferred me to a bigger one. And then during COVID, actually, I always knew I wanted to run my own business. And during COVID, I started a Facebook group and it blew up to where I had like 3,000 members. I had 5 employees and I was making $1,000 a day. And at that point, I was like, I need to go out on my own. I can't have limits. I can't have a 9 to 5 because when you have a 9 to 5, you know exactly what you're making every single day. If you're making $20 an hour and you work 9 to 5, you're getting 8 hours. Maximum you're making is 160 bucks. So I knew then that's when I had to go out on my own. But I was like, what am I good at? And I was like, well, I'm not handy. So I'm like, okay, check that off. Can't be a construction worker. I don't know electrical. I don't do concrete. So I was like, what job could I do that all you have to do every single day is show up and work hard? And I was like, I was kind of scratching my head. And one day on YouTube, I ran across Sonoma Strong, their junk hauling company. I was like, man, I could do that, So then I started thinking about it and I started watching videos. I watched probably 300 hours worth of videos. Every time I was at the gym, I wasn't listening to music. I was listening to junk hauling. And so that's when I was like, I think I could do it. So in August, I started messaging property managers on LinkedIn. I just played the numbers game. I was like, if I message 100 people, all I need is 5% to respond and 2% to use me. Because I'm like, if I message 1,000 people, 50 respond, 20 use me, that's 20 properties. Like, that's a good start. So I did that and I'd line up all these meetings. I really wouldn't tell them I was from Iowa or that I didn't have a trash background. Heck, I only had a white collar job back in Iowa. I'm doing inside sales. So I hadn't done manual labor ever in my life, but I knew I had a work ethic. So I messaged all these property managers. I lined up all the meetings for like the same week. I'd fly down here, do the meetings, fly back, do some cold calling, pass out flyers. And then I got enough people to where I did that for like 6 months. I did it from August to March or a little before March. And I got enough work that I was like, gosh, I actually have to move down there. Like there's people counting on me to move there. But I think for me, the biggest thing on why I was successful or am successful so fast is because I didn't have a plan B. When I moved down here, I know like 5 people down here. And if I didn't make it in the junk industry, I didn't have another option. So for me, it was like, I can't fail because I have nothing. So I told myself, I'm like, you just can't swing and miss. You can go up there and foul a few off, hit some singles, but you cannot swing and miss because you got nothing. And I think that's the biggest thing for people who want to start a business is first off, you got to take that first step. Everybody's scared. You're going to fail. But after you fail, if you go do it again, the next time you're not starting from nothing. You're starting with experience. So you're already ahead of where you were last time. But yeah, starting knowing that I couldn't fail was the biggest thing for me.
So how do you create that? Because, or what would you say for somebody, how they would create that? Because, maybe somebody's like doing a side hustle for a little bit, but they still have their comfortable job. Do you think it sounds like you're saying that was kind of the game changer that allowed your business to grow and to make things happen because you had to?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the smarter way is to have a 9 to 5 and then have a side hustle and grow it. But for me, I couldn't have that security blanket. I couldn't be thinking of, I don't need to go out and pass out flyers because, I've got a paycheck coming tomorrow. For me, it was like, no, you have to go pass out flyers or you're not getting a paycheck. And it just pushed me to that next level.
So when you think about that, and I'm going to fast forward this 10 years, okay? Mm-hmm. Because there's people that are listening that already have a company and maybe they went through that hustle at one point too. I mean, I can relate to that hustle, passing out door hangers and flyers and going around and talking to people. So, there's a lot of respect for that. There's a lot of great vibes and a sense of accomplishment doing that. But my question to you is, if you could fast forward 10 years from now, when you're not in that spot anymore, How would you recommend, or what do you think might be the way for somebody that's listening, that's been, that they made it, it's 10 years down the road now, and that it isn't a sink or swim scenario anymore. They don't have to do this to make it work. What would be some ideas that maybe could get them to rethink, or to get that fire back, to take it to the next level?
So for me, I know in 10 years, I genuinely love what I do. I know most people are like, oh, yeah, I love my job. They really don't. I really love what I do. I moved down here at the end of March, and I still don't feel like I really live here because I don't have like a 9 to 5. But in 10 years, I don't think I'll have my foot off the gas yet. I really don't think so. I think I'll still have my own truck. I might not be doing all the jobs myself, but I'll be bouncing around and helping because people don't want to work for someone who isn't willing to do the work themselves. You know, people respect people who work right next to them. And once you get complacent, like that's where people like start to plateau in business. I mean, my family's been in business for, 50 years. Once you start to get comfortable and you get complacent and you start saying, oh, this is how we've always done things, that's when people pass you up. That's when the new guys come at you because the new guys have their foot on the gas and you've kind of backed off. And that's why I've taken so much business from people who have, they've had this contract for 20 years and I come down and I take it in 2 weeks. And they're like, whoa, what the heck? And it's like, you got complacent and you were doing a half-assed job. You were doing 60% and leaving, but it's like, you can't do that in business. There's always someone coming for you.
So what would you say for those people that get complacent? Because there's two parts of this. I think when you're starting, that's a natural thing because you have to. If you're not going to make it at all. So that's just the point there. But there's so many people that start to have that success, and like the people that you're taking the business from, which is great because that keeps business great. So I love to hear that. It keeps people on their toes, and competition is a good thing. What are they doing wrong? Maybe that's another thing. Like when they get comfortable, what are some signs that they're too comfortable, and why are these people switching? How are they messing it up, if that makes sense?
So I feel like once you've been in it for a while, you start to like cut corners and you don't do the little things anymore. And that's where I separate myself. We both do the same job, but it's like I'm going to stay the extra 5 minutes and sweep the apartment complex after I cleaned out the eviction. Like that's not my job because there's actual cleaners that come in. But when I send a video to the property manager and it looks like you can eat off the floor that I just cleaned out an eviction, that's what separates me. And once people are in it for so long, they quit doing those little things. They quit showing up on time. They think they already have you. So they quit. It's kind of like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You've been with the same girl for 10 years. You quit doing the little things. You're going to lose her. She's going to find someone who comes along who's going to buy her flowers, and treat her good because it's fresh. It's a spark.
Right. Yeah, that's a great lesson in anything, is to just keep it. You got to keep it fresh. It is the details. It's the things that matter. I saw an example of just a service company being able to send a message and just send a text message to let the homeowner know that they're coming out consistently. Little things like that. I mean, it seems so little, but they love it, and I've had companies and people think, well, they're going to get annoyed with this, or they're not going to like that. No, those little things matter so much. And it's just crazy how you can change the game by just doing some of those small things, sweeping the thing out. So, sweeping it out's one thing, but the icing on the cake is sending it to the person that needs to see it, because they don't know what you're doing unless you send it to them. When you send them that, they just get that buy-in. And when it comes to renew your contract, or, call you or make the decision, whatever the process is, you're the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really great. When you think about, let's your journey. So you decided you were going to do this. You um, didn't want to have any limits, and I think that's an interesting point in concept. So for somebody that's having that feeling, how do they transition that? Because it's a great point. That's for somebody, but it's also for not for some people. So what does it look like to have that feeling, but then actually get to that side, if that makes sense? So you say, okay, I want to be this person with no limits, but without limits, it probably can go either way.
Yeah, the no limits thing, it's a little scary because you don't have, you could make $3,000 a day, or you could lose money in a day. And I mean, there's been days where I've lost money on jobs. I'll be honest. Sometimes you work to learn, and sometimes you work to earn. You know, actually, it was like my first month down here. I was a little bit like desperate for jobs. I shouldn't say desperate, but I was just taking anything and everything. You throw a job at me, I'll take it. I'll take it. And this guy had a backyard full of rock. I hauled out over 8,000 pounds of rock, wheelbarrow, shovel, wheelbarrowed around the yard, into the trailer. It was awful.
And you know what he said? He told all his friends, he said, if you need somebody to haul this much rock, I have a guy.
Yeah, because he'll do it for cheap. And not only did I do it for cheap, I mean, I think I made $60 that day, maybe $60. And I even swept his backyard because so there was no rocks. It took me from, oh God, it took me 12 hours. But you have to have those moments because now you won't do it again. Now, when someone asks me to do a rock job, I've got experience. Probably not going to make the same mistake. If I do, it's probably not going to be as bad. But I think for people who aren't used to taking the risk, then it's nice to have it start as a side hustle. But I think for people who are more risk takers, I think it works better to do it like I do because people like that, it's almost like they got something different in them. Like you can be a successful business person, but the difference between successful and like up here is people have like that dog in them, they're not going to stop. There's some people down here, they're successful, but I can tell you, like our motors are different. I will work 18-hour days. I mean, my average day is 14 to 16 hours and on the weekends. If you get what you put in, if you're willing to give any company all of you and you're willing to sacrifice, you're going to get it back no matter what you do. Whether you have an Etsy site, you're doing junk removal, you're painting, it doesn't matter if it starts as a side hustle or a full-time job. What you put into anything is what you're getting out of it.
What's that sign? So let's say somebody's looking to start a business. What's a sign that they should look for? For you, you mentioned earlier something clicked with the Facebook group when you said, wow, I got this, grew this, I'm making some money at it. I need to do something different. I need to take, no limits. So what are some of those signs, or what are some things that somebody, if they're listening, they may say, I'm looking for that sign? Are there some things that might give them a good clue that it's time?
Really, it's once you find something like you truly like. And I mean, it took me I'm almost 28. So it took me almost 28 years to find what I truly liked. I didn't mind working for my family. There's days that I loved it. And would I go back and do it again? Yeah, of course. But once you find something that you love and you're truly passionate about, that's where it changes. So for my Facebook group, there was other people who had the same type of groups. I ran like a raffle page. So I'd find a TV on Best Buy for $300. I'd raffle off 10 spots at 35. So I keep $50 every time, run the randomizer. Once I get the money, I drop ship it from Best Buy to your house. But I learned, and there were so many groups doing that. But what separated me was like the customer service aspect. I'm giving away free Yetis. I'm giving away this. Where other people, they weren't doing that. They're keeping all their money. but it's like now I'm making more than you because people feel taken care of. There might be a Friday where I post, hey, if you're a veteran or active military, comment below. I'm gonna send you $10 on Venmo. Go buy yourself a beer tonight. I appreciate you. If you're this, comment below. There's people who are like going through some hard times. I'd go buy something and I'd raffle it off myself, money out of my own pocket. But other people don't do that. And people don't care about what you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what separates me down here is since I don't have family down here and I know like 5 people, all of my customers are pretty much family to me. Like the people at the dump and my customers are who I see more than my friends, my girlfriend, everybody down here. So I have that relationship with them where they're not, I'll run through a brick wall for them because I know they're going to do the same thing for me. And there's a few of them that have taken really good care of me. And now I'll do anything for them. There was a apartment that they didn't let the dogs outside. They let them pee and poop in one room in the house. So no one would rip the carpet out because it was considered hazardous. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to come in and do it. I'm not going to charge you an arm and a leg. I'm going to treat you fair. Yeah, is it a gross job? Yeah, but it's like you've taken care of me so much for these past 3 months. And part of the reason why I'm successful is because of them. She's out of the office. I go leave a card on her desk, tell her thank you, $25 Starbucks gift card. Lady got a promotion 2 weeks ago. I go get crumble cookies. Did I want to eat some? Yeah, but I didn't. I left her all 4. It's the little things like that separate you. The maintenance guys at the complex, if I'm going to the dump, hey, what do you guys want at the gas station? Oh, Gatorades. Deal. I got you Gatorades. Because they take care of me. When they see an issue, they're calling Jake. They aren't calling anybody else.
Yeah, that's so important, and I think that gets lost as companies grow because you're the owner, you start out, you have that care. I think if you can reframe some of this to being family and the way that you said that is, and I think this situation is interesting because you moved away, you're in a new area, so it like some people start out treating their customers like family. For you, it was almost more of like a desire plus a necessity. So it like exponentially like kind of blew up in a good way because it had to. So I guess one of the questions that I would have is a lot of times business owners have a tough time charging people the closer they get to them. So a lot of times if you're working with family, sometimes it's like, I'll do that for you. Yeah, that's fine. I won't charge you. I'll give you a discount, all that type of stuff. Talk to me a little bit about how do you see that as a challenge for you? And if you do or you don't, how do you work through that? Because I know a lot of people start out small, and as they have to raise their rates, then sometimes that shifts it. So how do you treat them like family, care about them, but also say, man, this is a good bill and you got to pay it?
Yeah. When I first got down here, that was really hard. I'm like, is it really worth this? Is it really worth this? Because in Iowa, people would never, ever pay for my service. Everybody in Iowa thought I was crazy for doing this. They're like, junk removal, oh my gosh, you're never going to make any money. And I'm like, you don't get it. Because in Iowa, people have that Midwest mentality where it's like, I'll go borrow my Uncle Jimmy's trailer who lives 30 minutes away. I'll do it myself. I'll pay the dump fees. And it's like, you just spent your whole Saturday and paid more than what you would have done if you would have hired a professional. But people down here, they get that. And at first, I still had that Midwest mentality of, oh man, $100, was I really worth $100? And then the more I've grown, I'm like, okay, I'm one of the best down here. I'm still not charging what the bigger guys are. And I'm like, I'm worth the work. But I treat everybody fair. My thing is, you can screw somebody once and make a lot of money, and you're laughing like, I got them, but they're never going to call you again. Or you could treat them fair and they're going to call you for the rest of the time you're in business. So it's like, okay, cool. You did a job and made $2,000. Yeah, it was an awesome week, but I have them for a customer for life. And now they're going to spend $50,000 over the course of 10 years, which to me, that's a better win. So I try and treat everybody fair.
What would you say are some of the upcoming challenges or things people should be aware of as after they launch, they get it going? What are some things that you see as challenges that maybe you can highlight or say, hey, these are some things to be aware of?
The hardest part for me is the payment. So a lot of these complexes, they don't pay, for, their net 30 or net 45 or net 60. So it's like, I'm doing jobs in July and I'm just getting paid for jobs in May and the beginning of June. So it's like, I've spent money for all of June, all of July, all of my expenses, but I haven't got that money in to cover those expenses plus pay myself. So, there's times where you're sitting there and you're like, oh man, did I make the right choice? Because you're still waiting on those checks to come in. You're spending, right now I probably spend $300 a day. So it's like I'm spending $1,500 a week just on gas and dump fees. So $6,000 a month. And I'm not having these checks come in for another 2 months. So it's like I've got $12,000 wrapped up by the time I'm getting paid. So you need to have.
We'll be right back to the show. I want to invite you to my Blue Collar Mastermind group. This is a group of blue-collar business owners who share input on tough topics, support, celebrate, and learn from each other. The world's best business owners, leaders, actors, athletes, and musicians all have coaches or are part of a similar group to grow and succeed. If you want more from your business, have limited time, don't want to break the bank, this group is for you. Learn more and apply to the group at bluecollarbusinesscoach.net.
So you need to have that, like a little bit of capital set aside, because people aren't paying for 30, 60 days, and you're still going to have those bad things happen. I've replaced 3 tires already. That was like, oh, I had a phone call. I replaced 3 tires already. That was like over $1,000. And it doesn't help that I don't drive the most fuel efficient vehicle. I drive a Ford Raptor, so we average 9.4 miles a gallon.
Right.
But it's paid off. And that's one of the things you want to look at when you start a business. You want to have the least amount of debt you can be in. So I owe nothing on my truck. The trailer, I pay $500 a month for 2 years. So it pretty much pays for itself. But those are my only business expenses going into it. I don't pay for marketing, which is crazy. I call myself the king of marketing because I do no marketing. It's all word of mouth. I'm booked up every single day from 5 a.m. to 6, 7 p.m. with no marketing. I do have some cool things coming. I'm not going to say them. Actually, I will. I will say them because this isn't going to air for a month. But we've got a few cool things coming. We're just going to give back. So on Fridays, I'll go do some jobs, and then we're going to go to like the Goodwill and pay for the people's stuff. Or we're going to go to the gas station and pay for people's gas. We got a few other things coming, if I'm not going to tell people, and if they let me jump in their pool, I'll do their job for free. Just some funny marketing things that it separates you from the competition. People want to feel that relationship. There's 1,000 people down here who haul junk. If we all just show up and do the job, what separates you? They want that connection to call you back.
Right.
You go, they're like, hey, yeah, jump in my pool. And then it's like, all right, your job's free. They're going to go tell all their friends. I had Valley Waste Removal come and do my job. You know what? He jumped in my pool, did a cannonball, did my job for free. He's the best.
Right.
And now 10 of their friends are calling me.
Yeah, those are key ways to just draw traction, spread the word. And I think what happens so many times in business is everything gets stale, and we don't look at, I mean, I was working with a contractor, last week, and we were looking at some of the job hiring ads, and I'm like, this stuff is just stale. Everybody's doing it. You're not separating yourself. You're not doing anything that's different. And we really have to look at these different ways. Like, if you can do a cannonball, get them talking, if you can get them, capture that, put out on the media thing, you just become the guy. I want this guy to do my property, even if it isn't free. They just love the story. So part of it is the story, the narrative, who you are, and that really fuels growth. One question that I would have, and I can, people that are more seasoned into it, I know what they're thinking because I work with those type of people. They're saying, that was me. I was you. I thought, so we're going to just have a little fun with this one.
All right.
They're saying that I was that person when I started, and I was able to sweep it out, do a really good job, take care of the customer, make them feel like family. But in order to scale, we lost a lot of that. So for the person that might be listening and saying, yeah, well, that's going to change in some time when you have to add more employees, you can't be at every job, that type of stuff, assuming you want to scale and grow the business. What are your thoughts to that? Because that actually is a reality. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in your business, but it's a reality that happens in many other businesses, as they all, and most every one of them, had that same thing and feel when they started. And that's why people love them. But when they had to add employees, when they had to raise rates, they add employees, they're growing, but then quality starts to slip down, and that experience and that family feel. So all of those are real life challenges. So I just want to, and maybe for you, it's thinking ahead and you might have a good solution for this, but I know there's somebody listening that's going to say, I was there and then it didn't happen the way that we're painting it to be. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, that's definitely realistic. And I feel like a lot of business owners have this like perception of, like they're going to hire someone and they're going to care as much about their business as the owner does. And like, frankly, that's not the case. And that's why I take a lot of business, because these owners hire people who they don't care. It's a paycheck, and rightfully so. It's going to pay their bills. They're taking their family out to eat. That's what that job is. They don't care. If I went and offered my competitor's employee an extra $2 an hour, he's going to leave. That's what it is. So really for me, it's about I've got a few good guys already who help me. And it's about finding people who they see your dream. They believe in it too. And you almost have to make it feel like it's their dream too. Like they're a part of it. They aren't just working for you. They're not just, oh, I don't need you. They need to feel respected and wanted. An employee that feels respected and cared about and wanted will work so much harder than someone that just feels like a number. So I've got a few guys who they get that same like satisfaction. They love to sweep up. They're taking videos when they're done because they feel good about it afterwards. And I'm not going to sit there and write them. I'm on my phone sometimes during the day. I don't expect my employee to not pull out his phone. You know what? It's 2022. You're going to do it. I don't expect them to always be pedal to the floor. It's just not realistic. Am I? Yeah, 90% of the time. And the guys I have, pretty close to 90% of the time. And I make it fun for them, as long as you're not, destroying property and you're still being effective, have fun with it. We're here. You spend, 8, 10, 12 hours a day at your job. If you're miserable, that's a shitty life. So, the other day, my girlfriend's brother, he's actually probably my best employee. I take out probably. He is my best employee. He works for me a lot. He's got a full-time job, but if I were to bring on a full-time employee, it's him. He's top notch, and he gets it. I mean, he's go-getter. He's excited when we get to a place, the nastier the better. You know, he's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And I'll do stuff with him. Like the other day, my trailer was like 30 yards away, and we're trying to shoot basketballs from the eviction into the trailer. It's not hurting anybody. It's fun. You know, he's walking, and I found a baseball bat, and I'm hitting oranges at him. It's not hurting anybody, and it's fun. If you aren't doing those things, you're gonna hate going to work. And that's why I feel like I don't really work, is because I'm always trying to make it fun.
Yeah, that I think that's a great point and so important. And I think it gets lost a lot of times in. So there's a couple of things that I see when you first start out. Obviously, you know, with the owner, you get to build relationships with people. It kind of keeps it close, and then you can have that fun. Get to a middle-sized business, and that stuff starts to erode, disappear. You're a little bit get out of touch of it sometimes. And then you have these larger corporations or businesses where they start to have initiatives where they're doing quote fun stuff again. And they have, you know, things that are almost like scheduled and almost like coordinators that like run this stuff. So I guess what I would be interested in is, you know, how do you keep that purpose and fun as you grow? And again, and this may be ahead, but it's still looking at, you know, your ideas of how you're going to do it, because that a lot of times becomes a challenge. As we scale, we lose touch with these things. So, you know, what are some ways that you think as you continue to add people, maybe now you're not in the field, you know, do you tell somebody to, hey, hit oranges at these guys to make them laugh? You know, what is it?
See, and that's what I've been lucky to grow up with as a family business, is we employ a little over 100 people, but my grandpa still comes out. I mean, he's a little over 80, and he's a little bit involved. He's not all the way involved anymore as much as he'd like to be, but he still knows every single employee, all their kids, what sports their kids play. I mean, he's going to their sporting events. It's things like that. Even if it's not in the workplace, people appreciate that. So that's what you've got to do once you get all those employees. I mean, 100 people is a lot. And if each person has 2 kids, you know, now you're at 300 people. You're 200 kids plus the employees. That's a lot to remember. But on the flip side, people appreciate that way more than what you know. So even if you aren't, you know, maybe making the workplaces fun and being a little bit reckless, it's doing those things outside the workplace that matter as well. You know, time is something you aren't going to get back. You know, if someone gives me an hour of their time, it means more to me than $50, because time you're not going to get back. So if you go and watch a kid's sporting event, you don't have any ties to them, you don't have any family, it's their kid, that means more to them than giving them that $50 gift card. They're like, wow, my boss really cares about me and my family. So, I mean, even as you scale, you still have to remember to give back. And it doesn't mean hitting oranges or doing cannonballs. You know, you probably get away from that a little bit unless you have a few really good guys. You probably move away from that, but you still keep the family aspect of doing those things outside the workplace, or even like going in and saying, you know, hey, I know it was your daughter's birthday on Saturday. You know, did you have a good time? Because people like that. I mean, I like when people check in on me.
Right. And it's one of those things where there's some people that are good at it and it comes natural. And then there's some people that aren't, and it takes a lot of work and effort to do that. But a lot of times you see the people, and I mean, this is kind of sad, but I was at a funeral, you know, like a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago. And it was the biggest funeral that I've ever been to. It was, I mean, I call it sold out, standing room only. You know, it's like you know, it was a great guy, but he did just that. You know, he owned a business, but he just gave back to the community, and he sat on people's front porch and talked to them. He would go see them. You know, this one, he was in like the pasta and food making business, and this one lady was really angry that they stopped making stuffed chicken breasts. Like, what is that? Like, why is that important? I don't know, but she was really upset when their factory stopped making it. She was a regular customer. He went and sat down for 45 minutes and told her what the decision was, why they had to do it. And that just sounds like completely ridiculous. I mean, I had to just give the example of stuffed chicken breast because like who would ever do that? But when this guy, passed away, I mean, he had a sold out standing room only. People from all over came to see this guy and just remember his life. So I think it's a great thing if you can put that into perspective. And like you said, just give some, like, spend that time, ask a question, be genuinely interested in the people as you're scaling and growing. You can keep that same startup feel. And I think companies struggle because they lose that. What you're experiencing now is what a lot of people have maybe started, but it quickly eroded and they're not sure how to get it back. So I think this is a great topic of starting a business and some great insights of how to keep that fresh and how to keep it exciting and how to keep your customers and employees in front and center.
And I think that's why people lose it, because they think about scaling. That's all they're worried about is like, oh, I want to get bigger. I want to get bigger. And they look at the bottom line. They're like, oh, I need a bigger bottom line. That they lose that feel, that family feel, that entrepreneur, like that hustler feel. And then they just start going backwards because they're scaling, but it's like, oh man, our quality of work's going down, and people try and scale too quick. And I know I'm going to have to hire employees here soon, but I'm going to scale slow. I mean, business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So for me, it's like, I'm in it for the long run. So for me, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I want the best people on my team, because one bad person can ruin your reputation. You hire a bad employee and he goes and he's disrespectful to the property managers, he's disrespectful to customers, that gets around quick and you can fall faster than you grow. I mean, it takes one bad comment, it takes one bad thing and you're done, and then you're worse than square one. So for me, it's like, I'd rather scale slow with the best team. I don't think I'm really going to have an option to scale slow because I've been so busy and people just keep blowing me up. My phone is like a slot machine. It's ding, 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 ding. I mean, all day. But I'm going to try scaling as slow as possible for that fact that one person could ruin my whole reputation.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot on the line there, and I think that those are good points. So just to wrap up, a couple quick fire questions. The construction industry would be better if.
The construction industry would be better if people my age wanted to get into it. I used to work in the construction industry. I sold power tools, all that stuff, nuts, bolts, safety equipment. And the problem there is there's a lot of skilled workers and they're all older. And there's not enough young kids trying to get into it. And there's good money in it. There's good money in the trades. And I think the schools need to start pushing that. Instead of go to college. They need to say, hey, you can make a good money in the trades. You can make six figures as an electrician. Or you can go to college and get some, who knows what degree you spent 4 years on and make 40, but people just don't push it. So if kids my age got in the trades, that'd make it way better.
Right. I can build blank in my sleep.
Man, I can't build nothing.
Oh, that's a good one.
I can't even build an IKEA shelf with directions. Yeah, and man, my family and my girlfriend will attest to that. I am not handy at all.
Yeah, so you could build it. Maybe you build a spreadsheet, a marketing idea. There you go.
I don't even do my own bookwork. My girlfriend does my bookwork, so I can't even build a spreadsheet. I can build a business. That's what I can do. I can build a business in my sleep.
That's good. That's good. Biggest challenge.
Ooh. Dang, I don't know. Having people take chances on the new guy. I think that's what it was. When people don't know about you, if you go to the store and you like Mountain Dew and like there's a code red next to it, you're like, Is it worth the $2? I know I like Mountain Dew. So for me, it's like people know they like this person, or they're just used to them. They might not even like them. They're just used to having them service them. So for someone new to come in, they're like, I don't know. So just a little shout out to Carla, Sunshine, Mary. Oh, no, I'm forgetting one. Oh, but they all took chances on me, and I appreciate them because my business would not be where I was. Oh, Angel and the one shoe wonder. He's always got an Air Force One on and a sandal, but they've taken care of me. They all took a chance on me, and it paid off for them, and it paid off for me.
Awesome. Biggest skill?
Biggest skill is my work ethic and my motor. I mean, I'm nonstop. I will put my work ethic and my motor against anybody.
Cabin or beach house?
I can't really swim, so I'm going to have to go with cabin.
Ford or Chevy?
I drive a Ford, so we're going Ford.
There you go. Sometimes people throw a Dodge in there, but I'll start with Ford or Chevy. What's the favorite brand of equipment?
My dump trailer. That thing is a lifesaver. Hopping out and just pushing the button. I had a custom made in Litchfield. It's a lifesaver. It's 12 foot long. Well, it's 14 foot long, but it's 12-foot dump body, 7 foot wide, and 4 foot walls. So it's like a 12 cubic yard dumpster on wheels. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah, that's awesome. Last thing you got on Amazon?
I've only ever made one purchase in my life on Amazon.
That's it. That's a good one.
I've only ever made one purchase, and it was because I got a gift card.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't go down there. I don't gamble or do casinos, but I play Amazon, and I lose terrible on that place.
I do have an Amazon store though, so I do sell stuff on Amazon.
Cool. I want other business owners in construction to know what.
Just keep pushing. I mean, don't let up.
Yeah, that's a great one, Jake. I really appreciate your insights talking about, starting a business and your journey. It was great. Thanks for the insights. Appreciate you being on the show.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks again.
Hey, it's Seth. Thanks for listening. For more information about my Blue Collar Mastermind group, Blue Collar gear, free resources, or my book, go to bluecollarbusinesscoach.net. You can subscribe, like, and share if you enjoy this. Thanks again.